Today, we are going to talk about the dark side of ambition. Ambition can drive you to greatness, but it can also ruin your life. Here's a few things that's helped me be driven, but also be at peace. Do you ever feel like you drive so much, but you're not sure why? Well, to me, drive comes from two things. It comes from pain and it comes from pleasure. You have to identify which one's which. For me, ambition has been based on pain, right? If I can push through this, I can push through the next thing. But it also taught me that I was burning everybody around me to the ground, including myself. Being driven is super important, but it can also be a major darkness. To see the light in the darkness, you have to shine a flashlight. You have to be aware of why you're so driven. And then you have to pull back a little bit and be proud of yourself, because the thing of not feeling enough stems from drive. I felt like I wasn't enough most of my life. So what did I do? I just pushed harder and harder and harder. And in reality, I wasn't actually moving anywhere. It was like I was sprinting on a treadmill versus sprinting on the 100-yard line at a football field. I wasn't going anywhere. And if you feel like you're stuck and you feel like you're not going where you're supposed to be, it's probably because you're still in the darkness and you haven't shined the light on the dark areas to figure out where you need to work. Life is not designed to just completely be ambitious all the time. Here's a few things that have helped me kind of pull back and not be so driven, but also find peace in my life. Number one, the truth. Nobody wants to really look at the truth, especially at ourselves, because we all get defensive. So you have to find somebody around you that really loves you and really cares about you enough to sometimes point out your weaknesses. It's incredibly hard not to get defensive. But the truth is, you need those people in your life that actually hold you accountable, because if they can't hold you accountable, no one is, because you're not going to hold yourself accountable, right? So step one is truth. Step two is set goals. And I hate this word balance, because balance means something to everybody else. There's no correct definition of your version of balance. But if you're hurting yourself or you're hurting the people around you, you have to create that word balance for you. And I think that comes back to saying no and not always saying yes to every single thing you do. Number three, life is short. If you're driving so hard for something that you're not truly passionate about or you truly love, you would regret every day of your life if something stopped your life. And I unfortunately look at life as life or death most of the time, almost every single day. I live on a rule called a 24-hour period. If I knew I had 24 hours to live, how much different would I live? How much love would I give? How much appreciation would I have? And the other thing is I would leave nothing on the table. But the other side of that is I would love more. But the other side of that is I wouldn't have any hate or bitterness in my heart. I would truly love everything that I have an opportunity to love, because I only have 24 hours left. And to me, that was the big wake-up call that I had, because I literally crashed myself, crashed my friendships, crashed my relationships, and I even crashed my business because that was the only thing I could focus on. And then I realized life's way too short to just work. Number four, work doesn't always equal success. The life you want to live creates the success. You got to do the life you want. You got to create the life you want. You got to build the team around you. You got to have that relationship that you really feel like you can lean into. Those are the things that keep you peaceful. Those are the things that still make you ambitious, but also give you a calm water. Because usually when I was in those places where I was so ambitious, the water was extremely rough. And sometimes you just need to learn how to float. My final thoughts. Take a deep breath. Live in the 24-hour period or the thought. How much different would you live? How much more would you love? And let all that angerness, all that bitterness out of your heart and your soul. There's really zero reason to live with it. And if you're extremely driven, lean into it, but understand it. Dive into some books that are about being driven, ambitious, and drive, and clearly identify why you actually push so hard. Is it your family, or is it yourself because you're not good enough? These are things you got to learn in order to be the best version you can. Because I guarantee you, Michael Jordan knew his weaknesses. I guarantee you Tom Brady knew his weaknesses, even though he was still in greatness. With that being said, dive into yourself, understand who you are and what you want to be, and live in that 24-hour period. Listen, if you feel this way and you have an intense drive and you don't really connect with a lot of people, reach out to me, because I know what it's like. It's extremely difficult because you're a driven person, you're a visionary person, and not everybody's going to line up with that. You need to be around people that kind of understand the way your brain works. So if you have that thought or you have that question, reach out to me, because I would love to communicate with more like-minded people that are extremely driven, but also need to create balance in your life. Drop a comment below if you actually, think this is helpful, as well as reach out to me. God woke us up today. We are blessed, and share this with one person that you feel like is extremely driven.